There's a lot of discussion right now around what people call vibe coding, using AI to generate code quickly, iterate fast, and ship features with minimal friction. And in many contexts, that works remarkably well. But that model of AI assistance operates at a local level. Infrastructure is different. A deep learning runtime isn't just a collection of functions, it's a system of interacting invariants, memory layout, dispatch resolution, autograd correctness, device semantics, allocator behavior, all of which must remain consistent across layers. This is not vibe coding. This is VibeTensor. And here's the twist. It wasn't handwritten line by line. It was generated under an AI agentic methodology. So today, we're going to walk through this system slide by slide, not as hype, but as systems engineering. What this image shows is a new way of building software called the agentic loop. It's a cycle between a human, AI agents, and an automated validation system. At the top is the human architect. The human doesn't write the code directly. Instead, they define the goal, the architecture, and what correct behavior should look like. They set the direction. Next, the AI agents take those high-level instructions and generate the actual implementation. They write code, make changes, and attempt fixes, but they're not trusted to decide whether the code is correct. That role belongs to the judge. The judge is an automated system that runs builds, unit tests, and checks outputs. If the AI's code fails, it's rejected automatically and sent back for fixing. If it passes, the system moves forward. The central question behind VibeTensor is simple but demanding. Can coding agents generate a deep learning system that spans abstraction boundaries and validate it through builds and tests? That means crossing language boundaries, crossing runtime layers, crossing CPU and GPU execution, and maintaining correctness while doing so. This is no longer about generating a function. It's about preserving invariants across an entire stack. VibeTensor implements a PyTorch-inspired eager runtime with a modern C++ 20 core. It defines its own tensor and storage abstractions, its own dispatcher, and its own reverse mode autograd engine. It includes a full CUDA runtime, streams, events, graph capture, and a stream-ordered caching allocator built directly into the system. On top of that core, it exposes a Torch-style Python API through Nanobind, along with an experimental Node.js and TypeScript interface via Node-API. Both frontends dispatch into the same C++ operator registry. This is a unified system, not bindings glued onto something else. Now we're at the heart of the system, the C++ 20 core and dispatcher. This isn't glue code. It's roughly 60,000 non-blank lines of generated C++ and CUDA, and at the center of it is TensorImpl. TensorImpl doesn't own data. It's a view over reference-counted storage. Storage owns memory. TensorImpl defines how that memory is interpreted. It carries sizes, strides, dtype, device, and storage offset. That means tensors can represent contiguous buffers, non-contiguous views, slices, or strided layouts, all without copying memory. Then there's Tensor Iterator. Instead of writing shape-specific kernels, Tensor Iterator computes a unified, broadcasted iteration space. Both CPU and CUDA backends consume that same iteration logic, guaranteeing semantic consistency across devices. Autograd builds on top of that. If any of those layers disagree, the runtime breaks. This isn't scaffolding. It's a real systems core, generated, compiled, and validated under an agent-driven workflow. This slide shows the execution path, how a high-level Python function actually becomes GPU instructions. It starts in Python. You call an operator, say add or matmul. That call doesn't execute immediately. It flows into the C++ dispatcher. The dispatcher resolves the operator name and selects the correct backend implementation, CPU or CUDA, based on the Tensor's device and dispatch keys. If the operation is implemented as a built-in CUDA kernel, execution moves directly into compiled C++ and CUDA code. But VibeTensor also supports a Triton bridge. In that case, the dispatcher routes the call into a Triton compilation pipeline. Triton kernels are compiled into PTX, Nvidia's intermediate assembly language, and then launched on the GPU. So the flow becomes Python function to C++ dispatcher, to Triton compilation, to PTX generation, to GPU execution. VibeTensor is correctness first. It is not performance competitive with PyTorch. In end-to-end workloads, it is slower. But the point is not speed. The point is architectural coherence. One key lesson observed was what I call the Frankenstein effect, where individually reasonable components compose into globally suboptimal behavior. For example, a non-reentrant backward mutex simplifies safety, but serializes otherwise independent GPU work. This is not a syntax failure. It is an architectural interaction. And that is the frontier of AI-generated systems. VibeTensor is not a replacement for PyTorch. It is a research artifact. It is an experiment in pushing AI beyond fragment-level generation and into sustained systems design. The real question it raises is not whether AI can write code. It's whether AI can hold an architecture together. And that question is just beginning. That's it for today. If you found this breakdown useful, let me know in the comments. I genuinely love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoy deep dives into systems design, runtimes, and AI-generated infrastructure, consider liking the video and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one.